Hi, I'm Sierra Spirit. I'm an Indigenous musician from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. My first EP dropped October 10th, and I had been living in New England for a couple of years and got super homesick and missed being home, and writing about what I knew, my culture, my family, my community is really what drove me to write. And being able to encompass the 21 years of my life that I spent here into a couple of songs was really special. I grew up in Claremore, Oklahoma, and my dad was the first generation off the reservation, and so my grandmother and I would go a ton up towards Chewy and spend weekends driving around the reservation, visiting family, her telling me stories. Growing up here was just, my entire family has lived here for generations, and there's just so much history. Like every turn, every rock, every tree, she had a story for something that she remembered spending her childhood there. And growing up here was really special because I loved her, and getting to be where she grew up was really full circle. My grandmother was, like I said, she was alive during the time that residential schools were going on, but she was so far secluded in Chewy that, you know, she was going to school there and was kind of untouched from a lot of the hardship that was happening during her generation. And being able to spend so much time with her where she grew up, so immersed in the culture before she moved away, was anything that I could do to feel closer to her in any capacity, past or present, was so important. Growing up in Tulsa, it was kind of a little bit of both. After growing up in Claremore my whole life, I moved to Tulsa to start high school, and realized how much more world there was even 45 minutes away. I started going to shows and falling in love with music at these live venues, you know, stepping into Kane's Ballroom for the first time, the Vanguard, Hunt Club, all of these places, and realizing how much bigger the world was, even like a short drive away. I had always loved music, but, you know, growing up Indigenous, looking around on television and on the radio, I wasn't hearing or seeing people that looked like me aside from old Westerns, and it didn't seem like that was something I could do. It didn't seem like it was within my capacity until I got a little older, truly, and started seeing our community really flourish in these spaces. And it really just reignited this flame that I had had and drove me to realize that the community is so strong and so supportive that we will always find each other. And being able to follow the dreams that I had always wanted alongside so many other people from my community who are, you know, raising up their voices was really what drove me. I didn't know that I could do it until I saw that a lot of us were doing it, and fell in love with things that I thought were totally out of reach. Yeah, there truly is like a renaissance of Native creativity, and being able to be a part of it and just looking around at all of these incredible artists, it's like that little girl in me that wanted that so badly is kind of still seeing that through my eyes and seeing these people and being so enamored by the talent that our community has, and being able to look back and see my little sister and her friends see Native people on television, hear Native people on the radio is just, a lot of people don't realize how rare it is to be seen through the lens of media, and to be able to have that experience not only for other Indigenous creatives, but my family, to see a little piece of ourselves in something so much bigger I'm really grateful. My family has been incredibly supportive. Like, it was the hardest thing ever to leave home, but I felt like to move forward, I needed to challenge myself and move outside of my comfort zone and kind of force myself to live a little more life. And knowing that I can always come back home and that home will always be here, like the roads that I memorized getting back to where my grandma grew up that I probably couldn't put in on a map and find my way there, being able to always go home and have the people that truly love me more than anything be supportive and watching me go out and do these things, but still be able to come home and feel like I never left. I will say a lot of the way that I kind of find my way back here when I'm away is I had some pieces of jewelry that I gave to my grandmother when I was younger that she wore every day until the day she passed. And I ended up getting those back, like one of which that I'm wearing. And she always told me that she would kind of come back when she needed me and I find these little pieces of her everywhere, and holding pieces of her with me that carry so much of her presence. Just, I truly never feel alone because I know that she's always close. I had a friend once tell me that every time they saw a penny face down on the ground, that they would flip it right side up just to kind of give the next person a little bit of luck. And it's kind of a huge semblance of how different my life could have been if I didn't take this jump and take this step. Like, it truly could have gone either way. And I'm really lucky to be where I am, that people were supportive and wanted to hear my story and about how I grew up and my family and the culture. And life is so delicate, and things can really truly go one way or another, and kind of just being open to letting life kind of push you around sometimes when it needs to, and realizing that I don't always have to be in control to make a decision, kind of letting life happen a little more, kind of letting go of control. Yeah, so I had just started, like, a big part of why I started writing music is I was homesick and I missed home, and a lot of the things I wanted to write about were, you know, my family and my culture. And it had never really clicked, because I was kind of just trying to write to this algorithm of what I thought music should be, until I started writing about what I truly knew, and then it just clicked. And then realizing that playing these songs for other people and having people that have never met me, or maybe even people that aren't Indigenous, relate to what I'm saying, and realizing that maybe what I had to say was actually important and it wasn't just for me. And it kind of hit me. I was like, oh, this is something I can do that's not just for me. My favorite high school coffee shop was Gypsy Coffee House. Spent a lot of time there. Tried to climb up on the roof there once. I got in a lot of trouble. I would say, like, the Woody Guthrie Green over there, go to the first Friday art crawls. Like, I spent a lot of time doing that in high school when I had no money to do other things and it was free. I'd say, honestly, just walk downtown Tulsa. Like, it's such kind of a myriad of all of these incredible things. Like, the center of the universe is there. It's just like somewhere that somebody else would come visit and feel like they're nowhere. Like, everything I need is here. Growing up with my grandma being here and all of her siblings, and just being so immersed in something that felt so comfortable, and then moving so far and realizing that the world is so small yet so big. It's very rare for me to find other Indigenous people up there, and it definitely does feel kind of lonely. But doing the things that I was taught, like braiding my hair with intention, you know, smudging, and kind of just honoring my grandmother. You know, when I'm missing her, I'll make her favorite meal, prepare her a plate. Just keeping myself close to my family even when they're not there, and continuing to do those things. It's definitely, I missed it way more than I thought I would. I wanted so badly to kind of get out and experience life, and then realizing that coming home is all of those things that I need more than I realized. I know, I thought I wanted to go so bad, and then I left and I was like, I make whole TV shows about it.